exciting to have to know that the two of you have been working in the space together during this kind of lockdown period, and just knowing that you've been able to try things out. I'm just like to sort of ask Ioana initially to set up the scenario. So you called this project Past Present. So how do you bring the past into the present in your work in general? I mean, can you give us a kind of overview of that idea?
I've been working a lot with archival images. In relation to these images, I began to bring in the body of the performer, and usually there are quite impromptu performances that just happen, me directing them with my available audience. Now there was no available audience in the situation, and but it's been wonderful to work with the space and also to collaborate with Hanna. I think that's a really interesting tension between the two, between the past of the archive and of a certain historical situation and the presentness of the body and of the space.
But I guess the way you've been able to sort of explore the body has been really through the medium of Hanna, and I'm just sort of really interested as well as to how your own research as a choreographer kind of keys into Ioana's preoccupations, because it's the first time you've worked together, isn't it? So I wonder how the experience has been for you, Hanna.
For me, I was starting very much on a blank sheet of paper, coming in and understanding Ioana's work, a little bit trying to understand her processes, and trying for us, I think, a little bit to negotiate how our differences could somehow complement or merge or find ways to exist in the same space.
Yeah, because I've witnessed some of your earlier events, I'd call them, where in a way the work is entirely dependent on the space in which it happens. They tend to be improvisations.
I mean, I generally work a lot with spaces. I am trained as an architect. I have a background in architecture. I come from that side, and then I started working with images, and mostly images of spaces. So photographing spaces, but then begin to make interventions with images in spaces. And at some point I've started using light projection and working in given gallery or rooms. Projection, sort of filling them in with these large images, almost as a way of inhabiting the image, of living within it. My research work for many years has been about Bucharest, and then I got the invitation from you to use a space of Beaconsfield. I was also very attracted by this connection of Beaconsfield, of the building having been a former ragged school made out of two parts, and with the development of the railway, half of the building was cut, so there is only half of the building left, which is a quite extraordinary situation, I think. And
yeah, we're sitting in the girls' wing of the Lambeth Ragged School, and it's interesting, isn't it, how somehow spaces do have a resonance, and whether it's what we know about the space or whether there is genuinely something embedded in the architecture. But I wondered, because you've had much longer than you would normally have in a space, and I wondered how that has impacted on the way you've started to process the ideas, and also I'm interested in the fact that you've actually brought much older imagery into the space, so there's a much longer time span that you're kind of reaching back to.
I came here with completely different ideas and not quite exactly knowing what I'm going to do, and then in the first kind of days trying different things, I settled on these very somehow classical images that have obsessed me for a while. They are of bodies from Pompeii. They are casts of bodies caught in the moment of when they were trying to flee the Vesuvius eruption in the 1st century. So these bodies were caught under the lava, they decomposed and remained as holes within this lava. And in the 19th century, with the archaeological excavations, somebody came with the idea of inserting concrete in these bodies, and they obtained these body casts. So they are beautiful as photographs, and they are strange as objects.
Yeah, I was wondering how the introduction of actually a completely separate discipline, how you've each found that, because there is performance and there's performance, and the way that we understand performance in the kind of visual arts is actually different from the way maybe a dancer or a theatre person would understand performance. And of course you've not had an audience until today, in fact.
Yeah, that really helped, I must say, to sort of make sense of being in the space. But also there's something about that I've been working on for a while, is this sort of flattening hierarchy of elements, so trying not to pull focus, I guess. I was a bit preoccupied by that in this feeling of allowing the space, allowing the image, allowing the sound, allowing the light, allowing the body to somehow have an equal, allowing Ioana to have an equal weight in the space.
Well, thank you for taking up the invitation, and many thanks to the Romanian Cultural Institute for supporting the whole project. We're really excited to, be taking it forward later in the year.
Hi, my name is Elena Andreea Teleagă, and I'm a lens-based media artist born in Romania and currently working in London. I have recently graduated from this master's course in media at the Slade School of Fine Art, being awarded a scholarship from Saraband Foundation, Alexander McQueen's foundation. For this scholarship, I have been chosen by Matthew Slotover, and that was the place where I met Ioana Marinescu. During this course, I have been working, and I had a particular interest in archives and in 35mm educational slides. A very interesting discussions around this topic started with Ioana, and I'm very honored to be invited as a guest at Beaconsfield Gallery for this collaboration. During these 3 weeks in this residency, I have worked with a postcards collection dating from 1936 up to late 1980s. I'm very interested in what moving images, what archives do, how they act in a collective memory. This staged photography reacts in a very particular way in our collective memory. One thing that really is present in my practice, and I think of it a lot, is the fact that memories can be written, even if you didn't have an experience of a certain memory. If you believe in it, it can be written in your memory and you believe it's true.